Odyssey Sports Station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City. You found us. Thanks for joining us here from downtown Rochester, the High Falls Studios. My name is Gene Battaglia. You can join us at 585-866-4326. You can write to us. Heck, wherever you find your favorite social media. We're looking at our X account at WGR Rochester. We're on 95.7 FM. We're on AM 950. We are always free inside the Odyssey app, and if 1 to 3 isn't convenient for you weekdays, then just download the app, and you can listen back in the Rewind feature. It's our 10-hour Rochester podcast, also on YouTube and Twitch. This is hilarious. So we're getting ready to start the show today, and hey, it's a Getaway Wednesday. And, hey, I would say put on the Yankee game. My buddy Tim here would say it's the Guardians game. But regardless, we can't watch this in our studio. Are you kidding me?
I'm unfortunately very serious. I'm trying real hard, but it ain't working.
Okay, so the story it's on McAfee right now, which, fine. But I want to watch the game. Right, I want to, that would also be helpful, right? If something happens in the game, we can pass it on to you because a lot of Yankee fans in the area, right? Our remote control is jammed, or like it literally is not working. You just got it to work.
I may have.
You
All
did.
right, we did it. We spoke it into existence.
You spoke it into existence.
This remote has not worked for at least 2 weeks.
So for 2 weeks, we've been asking for batteries. Now, you and Dan are cheap. I didn't realize that was the problem. Like, legitimately, you couldn't bring in a couple AA batteries, but I guess when you're asking Derek, Derek's got a lot on his plate. I'm not going to get on Derek because there's a behind-the-scenes engineering project that he's been deeply involved with. So, if bringing in batteries slipped his mind.
We got batteries. We switched the batteries out. It was the remote.
It's the remote. So what do? We, Tim, way back in my day, you would just go up to the TV and you would hit the button up or down.
The technology is so advanced, we don't even have that option anymore.
I'm so old that I remember a time where you didn't have a thing called a remote control. Isn't that crazy?
You had to stand up.
And legitimately the first, for the kids that, my gosh, I had a friend that had cable. Ooh, cable. And the first cable boxes, it was like the sliding dial that you would move up and down. Like it would go like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Like a radio frequency.
Yeah, like almost like that. Yeah. So it wasn't hitting buttons. It was just a little rule slide almost. So there you go. Somebody might remember that, but I'm dating myself. Welcome on in. I'm in a great mood because you know what? The Knicks are going to win tonight. Called the Spurs winning game 3. I think the Knicks punch back tonight. I think that the crowd will kind of – the vibes will be there. I'm not Stephen A. Smith pointing things that had nothing to do with the team being on the court, right? That is not the reason why. It's not even in the top 1,000 reasons why the Knicks didn't win that game. Knicks didn't win that game because they were uptight. They didn't play their own basketball, which means, hey, get out there and run, move that damn ball around. And I think tonight – you'll see them push back a little bit. San Antonio came in physical. It's almost like their manhood was tested, and they answered, right? And I'm going to be curious to see how this is officiated tonight, as you should be too, right? The officiating was a little bit on the side of San Antonio, okay? And I'm saying that unbiased. Like, it was pretty clear. So, but again, that's not the reason either. The Knicks did that to themselves. Game 4 is tonight. We'll talk some Knicks here, too. One guest today being our buddy who, for the first time we could say, is joining us somewhere in Nebraska between Lincoln and Omaha.
Almost there.
He's, I'm going to be curious to get the thoughts of PJ Glasser. PJ Glasser will be joining us here in hour number 2 as he's headed to the College World Series, which, hey, that would be, like, if you have the means and you have the time, there's so many great sporting events like that in our country, and, you could rattle off a half dozen, right? Like, if I had the time and the money, I would do that, and PJ has the connections, so you know what? Go down there. He's an Alabama grad too, so I do believe they're in the tournament. I haven't looked at it, but we'll talk to PJ about Game 4 tonight. We'll talk about that thing called the World Cup. It was like 3 weeks ago. I asked for PJ, hey, any advice on the World Cup? He's like, I haven't cracked the book on it. Well, guess what? We're putting PJ on the spot today. PJ Glasser will join us here coming up in hour number 2, live from parts unknown Nebraska. Again, our phone number, 585-866-4326. That's the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman Line, award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com, where Father's Day is coming up. Hint, hint. Good Smoke. Great place to bring Dad. Hey, yeah, we'll talk Knicks here in a little bit. I want to start with the Bills. Oh, and coming up, Tim, are you familiar with this? I am making an executive decision on the show.
All right.
You know why I get to make the executive decision?
You're the boss.
Because at the show, my name's on it, right? So I am bringing over something from Sports Bar 1.0. Not yet. We'll get to that. I think you know, like, if Joe Brady's speaking yesterday, and I haven't heard the bites yet. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. When the Bills showed up, we were wondering, all right, what is going to be the big storyline for the Buffalo Bills here? And we kind of figured out here in minicamp, just doing process of elimination. Holdouts? Nope. Everybody's there in attendance. Doesn't even seem to be anybody going to Brandon Beane. And if they are, then they're fine with it. We're not hearing about this. So to our knowledge, there isn't anything. 100% attendance. Fantastic. Hey, there's some video running the shuttle drill. Michael Hoyt. Fantastic. Look, if Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL or had some sort of, Achilles injury back in whatever it was, December. I don't remember what Mahomes had, but I know Michael Hoyt had an Achilles injury, right? Michael Hoyt out there doing the work yesterday. That's fantastic. How the Bills bring him along during training camp, sure. Like right now, he's doing what he needs to do, and Michael Hoyt can be that kind of chess piece that Sean McDermott was planning on using in this defense, and I would think that Jim Leonard will certainly kind of salivate over. So that's good to see that he's on that track back. We learned yesterday, Dorian Williams not available. Okay, some sort of injury. Okay. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe by the time we get to Fisher, he's out there. But what this does is we can now say there are 3 competitions on this team for starting jobs. I think one is silent. I think one is obvious, and one was unexpected. Let me go with the obvious one. The obvious one being left guard. You have David Edwards, who, hey, you're doing a fine job. He was really good. But then his position coach kind of leaves, and maybe the philosophy changes just a little bit. Oh, by the way, the Saints offered $60 million. I'm sorry. Like, there comes a point where, I'd love to have that. Can't afford that. I didn't think the Bills would bring back Connor McGovern. That was a surprise, right? When it was a Saturday afternoon. I was headed to the Section 5 basketball tournament, and like, what? You're kidding me. He came back? Fantastic. Well, you couldn't afford both. So here we have Alec Anderson, who in spot duty last year was very good. Is he ready for this moment? Are there other candidates? They're not going to hand that job over to Anderson, but I think Anderson has a clear edge over everybody else. Anybody dispute that? We're all nodding our head. Okay. The silent competition is at corner, opposite of Christian Benford. Maxwell Harrison didn't show you enough last year. I'm sorry, he didn't. Where you're hoping that he would come in and be this corner that would deliver electric plays, splash plays, and you didn't get that. And sure, he was hurt in training camp. He got hurt later on. Harrison was just kind of a rookie, and kind of like Cole Bishop, his rookie season with the Buffalo Bills. That was a big storyline last summer at camp, and we talked to Cole Bishop on the show here. And Cole Bishop, his head was swimming, was in a good spot. It was about a couple weeks in, And I could even say like the Saints game where he makes that unbelievable read, like, whoa, here we go. This is Cole Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. And if Cole Bishop is healthy this year, and I know it's a new system and blah, 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 but once he does less thinking and more reacting, I think Cole Bishop is going to be that same player. Could we expect something from Maxwell on that? Well, Bills are hedging their bets on this. Or maybe it was just a case of, hey, we didn't think this player would be on the board, but none of us had the Bills taking a corner in the second round. I shouldn't say none of us. It was a little bit of a surprise, wasn't it? But when you read about IGB, Davison Igbinosun, like that's somebody that plays a completely different style, right? What do you want at the corner opposite? Do you want somebody who is going to be physical and man up? Or do you want the big splash guy who can jump the route and return a pick six? Like, it seems like they're two completely different styles, and I can't wait. That is going to be something, and the reason why the Bills aren't, kind of going out of their way, the rookies. You really don't want to say that a rookie's coming in, and also, too, that, opposite Christian Benford, Max Harrison, like I'm not going to ding him because he was hurt last season for the better part, but Hairston has to show something this camp to earn that job. This job is not his. Like where I could say like it's which job is his to lose? I would say Hairston has a better chance of losing that job than actually Anderson losing the job at left guard. But now I'm getting to the competition that none of us expected. And I might have a different take here on this, where, okay, now you're looking at the linebacker position. And I think a lot of us were kind of expecting in free agency, okay, the Bills, this is where they're going to go make a big move, right? On free agency, go get a name. Hey, these linebackers that have connections and I'm not talking about like a Mike Dana, who technically I guess you could say is a linebacker. I'm talking about the two guys that last year were named Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard. Bernard is back. He's your middle linebacker, but not back is Matt Milano. So, but with Matt Milano being out, Dorian Williams, that's the guy that's stepping up. And that was a debate last year we were having, right? Who's the better linebacker? Is it Matt Milano? Is it Dorian Williams? And I felt like I was on Team Milano waving the flag all by myself, where if you went back 2 years, the answer to your trivia question, who led the Buffalo Bills in tackles in the year 2024, it was actually Dorian Williams. But part of that was, to his credit, he was the guy that was more often healthy than not. That was a year where a lot of weird things happened, and you ended up calling a line. Who was the linebacker that was on vacation? Funny how like time goes. 5. I don't have it. Somebody write in with that guy from the Saints. How many times did they bring him back? But the point is, Max at linebacker, Dorian Williams not being there right now opens the door for Caleb Elam's Orb. Who's the guy?
AJ Klein.
Thank you. Shame on me for getting the great AJ Klein. Is AJ Klein, Tim, worthy of coming back to wave the flag and lead the charge?
I don't think so, but who am I to judge?
I would say no. I would say no. Like, AJ Klein.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, but I think
good day.
I think we're good. Yeah, that was the story where he was going to Disney or something, and then, hey, do you want to come out of retirement? What do you think, hon? All right, fine. It'll pay some bills.
Hop on a plane to Buffalo.
It's like the NFL from the 70s. Like, all right, I guess I'll play. Hey, do you want to manage the Indians this year? I don't know. Got another guy on another line with white walls. Let me get back to you. So the linebacker position right now is wide open next to Terrell Bernard. It is. And the exciting thing is always the unknown. What could this look like? Could the Buffalo Bills have actually drafted a starter in the 4th round? If they put it that way, does that sound likely to you? Does that sound like plan A? Does it sound like 31 other teams somehow whiffed incredibly, or is it what we talk about, say, positional value? Meaning, okay, that the linebacker position's kind of like the running back position, in my opinion, where, yeah, it's great to have a difference maker, and the Bills have a true difference maker at running back. Don't kid yourself. Second-round pick for James Cook, yeah, that's a hit by Brandon Beane, right? In a draft where they traded down a couple times. You can find talent in the fourth round. I mean, Andre Reed was a fourth-round pick. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a fourth-round pick. There's plenty of fourth-round picks, but it's a lot to ask somebody like a Caleb Elarms or just to kind of step in. So as we are heading to the summer, and as maybe you'll sit down and you'll read or you'll listen to your favorite podcasts or whatever, you'll see positive stories about Caleb Elarms. And I'm here to tell you that, well, that's great. I'm excited to see this at Fisher. And maybe he is the guy. We haven't even gotten to training camp yet, much less the blue or the red scrimmage, much less preseason games 1, 2, and 3, much less, hey, can you stand up through all this offseason stuff, much less to week 1 of the season. So we got a long way to go to determine if the Buffalo Bills got a diamond in the rough. We did have audio yesterday from Josh Allen and from head coach Joe Brady. First on Allen talking about Bills minicamp.
Yeah, I think we're coming out here. We're competing at a very high level. Guys are flying around. We've done a good job of connecting. Those are the couple of the miles as you hear our guys cheering on each other. Couple of the things that Joe had wanted for this OTA period to be is, connect, compete, condition, and then come out here and just have a lot of fun and play some football.
Uh-oh. Did we just come up with some sort of marketing slogan? Compete, connect, condition? Like, let's just connect the C's? I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but that reminds me of our internal, everybody has to have their pride, right? And our company's name is Odyssey. And the 4 C's for Odyssey. Do you know the 4 C's for Odyssey, Tim? No, I don't want to get you in trouble. They're creativity and
community. I know that one.
I don't think caring. And then you're just community would be one.
I know 4. I know there's 4 of them. I know community's one of them. That's all I got. I'm going to be honest.
Can you play this again? I'm like, oh no, do the Bills have an internal marketing slogan with Joe Brady? Please tell me this isn't true.
Yeah, I think we're coming out here. We're competing at a very high level. Guys are flying around. We've done a good job of connecting. Those are the couple of the miles as you hear our guys cheering on each other. Couple of the things that Joe had wanted for this OTA period to be is, connect, compete, condition, and then come out here and just have a lot of fun and play some football.
Oh, no.
Connect, compete, condition. All right, like
he put that on a PowerPoint and they ate it up.
I like playing darts, Tim, and going to a bar if I'm connecting with my buddies, right? And I'm competing, and I'm getting my arm in condition, right? Like what do we do? Like, yeah, that right? That's not a PowerPoint. That's like
real NFL franchise.
Like welcome to minicamp, everybody. Connect, compete, condition. What can we say there for training camp coming up? That's Josh Allen. More on Allen talking about, well, a guy that you're hoping is going to be the new number 1 here in DJ Moore.
Still working on it. Still working on it with everybody. There's just different nuances that some guys have in their body language. He's as smooth of a football player as I've ever been around. And it's just, I'm lucky to come to work and have the guys that we do, especially him going out there. And he works extremely hard. It's fun to be out there with him.
And Josh Allen, one more from Allen yesterday, because it's not only DJ Moore that's new. Josh, what is it like working with the new head coach?
No stranger to coach, and to have the familiarity that I do with him, and to have the relationship that I do, to bounce different ideas off of him. He's still our play caller. That's not going to change, and I think his wants or emotions during practice have changed a little bit because he's got to root for both sides now, which is awesome to see. He's going out there, he's cheering our defense on, he's cheering our offensive on, and he just wants us to go out there and, like I said earlier, compete as hard as we can.
Is he going to run for office someday? I'm not talking about Joe Brady. I'm talking about Josh Allen. Like, he knows how to pivot, positive, but is he really going to give you all that much. Not that it's a bad thing, but he knows exactly what tone to hit. I mean, you don't ever get anything wrong. Now, this is something that is going to be new here, hearing from Joe Brady. And this goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, the executive decision. The executive decision is some things from Sports Bar 1.0, we retired. Then went into the sunset, including, what's his name again? Danger. That guy. Yep, he retired himself, right? Kidding. But things that came over, for instance, and you, the Sports Bar listener, very helpful in helping us. Like, wait, what do we do with the breaking sounder that John Sterling's no longer with us? And everybody said, you know what? It's cool. I think you're going to be cool with this, too, because coming over to Sports Bar 2.0 and things we can look forward to coming up this fall, it is the return of Sweet Brady Lies.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet Brady lies. Tell me lies, tell me Brady lies.
Now, Tim, you know the way this works here.
I do.
Yes, because Sean McDermott, if you're new to the show.
I've never done it, but I do.
Yeah, see, if I'm doing this on WGR Buffalo, who, by the way, they don't even know we exist over there. And that's just fine because, you know what, if you're part of the club, if they do this in Buffalo, they're getting a call. And, could you just imagine Bill's PR or Brandon Bean or anybody getting upset of us just saying, you know what, that's just a blatant lie.
That's not true.
Was not just true of McDermott. Pretty much all head coaches and all executives lie. And the reason this bit kind of started was McDermott was always one just to pump the tires of the competition. What did it for me was talking about Andre Roberts as a future Hall of Famer when he was returning. Like, the hell are you talking about? Like, no, that is not even true. And it's like, okay, so this kind of happened organically with McDermott McLies. So now, and we want to thank, who's the guy from the Wings that sent that in?
Bob Craig.
Thank you. Bobo. Sending that in to us. And if you ever have a idea for contribution to the show, Sweet Brady Lies. So, Tim, I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to set the over-under. And then the lie detector. Now, for the purpose of this, knowing that Joe Brady was speaking yesterday, and knowing that we have a couple of sound bites here, I did not listen to this in advance. And this is difficult to handicap because, you know what? I don't know at what clip Joe Brady lies. When we got into the season with Sean McDermott, Sean McDermott would talk in circles like, he's a quarterback on the other team and he's really, really good. And it just kind of, I would expect Brady to have a lot more energy here in the month of June. When we check back with Joe Brady in November, that might be a different case. So clip number 1, the headline story yesterday, that being about Dorian Williams. Dorian Williams not available. I'm going to give you the time of the clip, and I'm going to put the over-under here. And then I'm going to ask Tim, would he go over or under on this? Dorian Williams, 30 seconds. We'll hear 3 lies from Joe Brady on this. Are you going over or under?
I'm going to take the under here. I think it's too early for him to lie that frequently about something that we don't know anything about.
We don't know anything about.
Even if he could be lying and we don't know. So it's tough.
And for the purpose of this, we would count a gross exaggeration. Like, if you'd be like, okay.
Speaking hyperbole, you're getting a ding.
You're getting a ding. So, and the ding, like, this is all automatic, right? Just like we have the amazing AI software here that will just put this in. And you don't believe this? Go home and play with Gemini or whatever it is. 30 seconds. Dorian Williams, everybody play along. Are you going over or under on 3 lies?
He did get injured, but Dorian's handling everything the right way, and he'll be ready to go. And I'm excited for him. Dorian, it's been a great opportunity for him, similar to some of the other guys. You guys have been out here in OTAs. We have a great plan for all these guys. There's been some guys that have practiced and haven't, but Dorian's getting a lot of reps and a lot of mental reps. And so good opportunity for him as he's going into the training camp of, like, when the game slowed down, he's taking the mental, and come training camp, going to put a lot on him from a physical standpoint. Injuries are going to happen in season, off season, but Dorian's he's in a great headspace, and I know he's excited for training camp.
That's tough because he's in a great headspace. this is where I got to say the executive. I think that's right on the line there. I think the lie detector might need a little warming up because he's not in a great headspace right now. If he's just on the sideline and he's excited for training camp, that's a blatant lie. Name me the football player that's excited. Like, hey, would you rather be on vacation next week? Would you or do you want to go? Do you want to go to St. John Fisher University? I'm excited for.
I think there's some people that are fired up to get back to it. I mean, so much time off. If you're hungry, you're amped up. It's been a while.
So that was 2 lies there. But I'm throwing the challenge flag on 3, and I think I lose there. So if you went under, congratulations, although I thought that last one should have been a double ding. This is Joe Brady, 30 seconds on the state of the team.
I like the direction that our team is going right now and the way that they're competing with each other and, just kind of doing everything we're asking right now. And then the big thing is like, hey, what are these next 2 days going to look like, right? Like we have a 6-week break, right? It's a long break. But I'm not focused on that right now. I want the guys to make sure that if we got the right makeup of the team that we have, we're going to come out and have 2 good practices and then training camp will take care of itself. But I feel like I'm in a good place, as good as I can, but I have nothing to really judge it on, right? And so surround myself with good people, good players, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's another under. I forgot to give my over-under. I was going to say 1 or 2, but that was
just all true.
That's just kind of
And he
like
said it at the end there. Like, he has nothing to base it on, and neither we. So we'll find out what the truth is eventually.
Damn it, Joe! Lie! Just lie.
You're too good of a man, sir.
Yeah, don't worry. Everyone, don't worry. It's June.
Get to week 5. We'll get some lies.
Like, everything is great now. Everything, it's Lego time, folks. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is fantastic. I've got some thoughts on the Knicks. And one, like, there's just one thing with the Knicks. Of all people, Jeremy Lin brought this up, and I'm like, yeah, but he stopped short of really what this is about, right? So it's one of those, like, if the Knicks win, yay! And then you realize something after the fact. It's like if your favorite college basketball team, football team wins a championship, but then, I don't know, after the fact you figure, oh, yeah, I love Michigan football, but, man, we did some things there, maybe against the rules or whatever it was. I'm guessing you don't care if you're a Michigan grad, a Michigan fan. Would you
kiss the ring?
Would you feel the same way about the Knicks? I'll explain here. We have time for your calls at 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia, Tim Schneider, Dan DeLorean here on WGR Rochester.
Mike Johnson at 585-423-2946. Odyssey is an equal opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Can the Knicks bounce back after coming out of the gate slow? They fall in Game 3 tonight. It's Game 4. New York up 2-1 on the Spurs. Knicks head coach Mike Brown.
Nobody is quote-unquote panicking or anything like that. Everybody is disappointed that we didn't go out and execute and play to what we feel our standard is. And that's not taking anything away from San Antonio. But we feel like we can play a lot better than what we did. And we're looking forward to going out on the floor and showing it.
Rochester Red Wings now trail by a half game in the IL standings as they lost last night. Both Memphis and Nashville won. Red Wings tonight taking on Worcester at the stadium. On the Major League scoreboard, the Yankees are up 3-1 at Cleveland. They're in the top of the second. In Tampa, there's no score between the Red Sox and the Rays. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Raising the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
If you are a parent of like a teen, my kids are no longer teens, but sometimes I'm like, come on, can we act a little older? Maybe the story's a little relatable. So I think the story is fantastic, by the way. As we have something to root for when the U.S. Opens at Shinnecock next week. That's an amateur golfer from Webster. His name's Jackson Ormond. He's 18 years old. It's a gauntlet to qualify for the U.S. Open. What do they call it? The longest day or whatever it is. Only 5 make it, and he did it. So he's the first amateur from the Flower City, from our area, since Gavin Hall in the year 2013. So we're all going to be pulling for this kid. Like, how close can you imagine, like, if he made the cut or something like that? Like, we're going to just be, and think of it this way, like next Thursday and Friday, we're going to give you updates here about a golfer from Webster that is in the U.S. Open. That is amazing. I'm curious also to see who they put him with as far as the tee times. Now here's the kicker, right? It's like, and I'm debating, should I mention this? Should I not? It's relatable, and it's this, that he can't say agent, right? But he has representation. So the representation reaches out and said, hey, would you like to have Jackson Ormond on the show? I said, oh, yeah, we'd love to talk to him. That would be great, and it doesn't have to be that long. Look, you're 18. You don't have to give all these long in depth, but, like, what was that like qualifying for the Open? What will it be like going down to Shinnecock? Tell us what that is. And he's going to go play golf at Florida, and he's got a great career ahead of him. That was like 2 days ago, and I'm wondering, whatever happened to that? We didn't exactly line that up. The representation mentioned they're just having trouble getting hold of Jackson.
I've been there.
Like, it's like, I will call my kids. I will text them. Nothing. It's, if you are the parent of an 18-year-old, or I don't know, maybe early 20s, yeah, that is completely relatable. But they're like, oh, I see the text, I'm ignoring it, or it just doesn't register with me, or hell, I'll call my daughter and it'll go straight to voicemail. Like, I am your father. I'm actually the one paying for this bill. Do you understand the way this works? The way this works is you have phone. If you want to have phone, then you have to answer my call.
You have to be accessible.
You have to be accessible.
I've lived through this actually through my signing gig. Joe Mack, he's with the Marlins now. He was in single A at the time. He had just turned 19 years old. I did a signing at his parents' house, and it took me 3 weeks to get to him. And his dad was at the table with us, and he was like, how long, when is this due? I was like, oh, like 2 weeks ago. And he starts lambasting his son. He's like, you made this guy wait this long? What were you doing? He's like, playing video games. And
it was like,
it's like, hey, he's a kid. I get it.
He's a kid, and he's talented and everything else. So I'm in no way, and I'm sure somebody might be listening, like, I know that family. Like, I don't want you to get involved or anything like this because things come up. But I just thought that was totally relatable that, wow, you're kidding me. You're having trouble getting hold of an 18-year-old. 585-866-4326. That is the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. Tonight, we've got the Knicks. I'm excited. As you pointed out, Tim, 8:30 time. Bull. Ding, 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 ding. It's not 8:30. That's where, all right, what laundry am I going to start? What dishes do I need to get done? Okay, national anthem. Okay, we're ready to go finally. Just have it on the background because, they'll be just yapping and just trying to, in our business, sell more inventory. Tune in at 8:30. Oh, by the way, we'll
get to you at 8:43.
Yeah, we have the cell phone commercial, the insurance commercial, the car commercial. Wait, and here's another fast food commercial. All these commercials are going to feed you, right? But the game itself tonight, you're hoping for a better outcome. Now, this is something that, and mind you, like, if you're a former Knick, you're excited about this because you know how much this means to that town. And like I pointed out, there was a national sports talk show host, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he used to do a show with Leberton and said, if you're a former Knick, like Spreewell or any of those guys, you're rooting against this team. You cannot stand the – oh, are you? Because I don't know. We talked to John Wallace last week, and he was right there with John Starks and Latrell Sprewell. And you know what? If you're an alum, you take pride in that like your school. And the Knicks, because of the culture of New York City, if you played for the Knicks, you will always kind of have a home there. And so it's kind of sort of a homecoming. So if you don't know what you're talking about, you're hosting a national show, you're not going to get 100% of the takes right. But I just wanted to point that out. Another guy that certainly, and this guy, very big profile for in an era where you needed something because, I call it the Nick Drought era, Tim. It's like the Nick Drought era where you go from 99 all the way up to here. Jeremy Lin Sanity, it was so much fun. And he's got a pod as everybody else does, right? And he has a take on Jalen Brunson. Quote, I don't think enough people are talking about him giving up $113 million to build a team full of players that want to win. I think that speaks volumes. That's also historic, and it's also not talked about enough. Jeremy Lin, ladies and gentlemen, who, Tim, you know where he went to school?
Villanova. No.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard.
Sorry, confused the two.
That would qualify him as being a smart guy, right? And Jeremy, on the surface, sure. And you, being part of the Knick family, really can't say anything about this. However, and before I get into this, like what did that enable to do, right? This is going back a few years before you even got to how Dallas let him get out the door. Like, you want to talk about how Dallas was a mismatch. You think you want that back there, Cuban? Probably. By leaving that money on the table, the Knicks re-sign Onunubi. They trade for Bridges. They trade for Cat, right? All these things happen. You don't have Karl Anthony Towns, and he wasn't that good. Defensively, he was okay in the first half, but like that wasn't to his best ability in Game 3. You mean to tell me this is the biggest altruistic thing in the history of sports? That somebody left a little bit of money. Now, the analogy here I would give is Tom Brady. For years, Tom Brady did this with the New England Patriots. And, he didn't take the max contracts. He wanted to, shore up on defense. Well, for Tom Brady, sure. But then how did he get rent for free in Patriot Place to have TB12? Who else invested in TB12? There's a lot of things about Tom Brady that if we kind of dug into it, yeah, maybe the salary cap circumventing in the NFL was kind of sort of a thing.
You're pulling in money elsewhere. You don't need the money on the contract.
Now, it could be, if I'm just putting just a big old smiley face on this, like his old man is in New York, and his old man, and they have this big plan. The big plan is this. And this would be true, right? If the Knicks finish the job, and mind you, I'm not. I said Knicks in 6, okay, but job's not done yet, right? If the Knicks finish the job, Jalen Brunson will have money-making opportunities in New York City for the rest of his life. He will make connections He will be the guy. What has happened in New York is it's not a basketball story. It's a city story. It's the lead story on every newspaper and TV. The whole city is consumed. And now you become the guy who is sitting courtside on, in Game 3. And I'm not talking about Eli. And Eli, he's kind of got that cachet too. I'm talking about Jeter. Like, you will be celebrated at that level forever and ever. Now, Jeter went to the Marlins. New Yorkers look past that like, okay, whatever, you're making money down there. You're still one of us. Side point on Jeter. Like, I find it funny that Jeter didn't bring his wife and Eli brought his wife. Like, Jeter's just like, hon, stay home. Like, I don't know what that was the case. But, okay, like, that's the positive. Like, if you went into this thinking, I have an opportunity to win here in New York and what that would mean to New York. And maybe this is the New York arrogant fan in myself coming out here. But it does mean more when you win in New York. It just plain and simple means more, right? The fact that I'm going to use the analogy, Jeter and the Yankees won all those championships. Hey, Tim Duncan won 5 in San Antonio, and it's
awesome dynasty, but it's in San Antonio.
It's in San Antonio. You don't even know. Winning in New York, and all it's going to take is just one. If the Jets ever broke through, one.
Well, I mean, that's a step too far.
No, it's like, but the Giants, like, so for Brunson, like, did he do this with this big plan in mind? Or, and I don't think we're ever going to have the conclusion of this other story. Like, idea that, hey, there is this company that Kawhi Leonard was endorsing, and Kawhi Leonard, it was basically, like it was a no-show job. It's like, okay, what did you do to this endorsement? You just wrote your name on the check and endorsed the check? That was it? Oh, wait a second. This company then bought the naming rights for the Clippers for Steve Ballmer. The company goes belly up. And you're looking at all that money that Kawhi Leonard had to declare on his taxes. Wait a second. Isn't that just blatantly circumventing the cap? And this big old investigation, and Adam Silver was asked about it prior to the NBA Finals, and he said, well, we're going to reach a conclusion on the story soon. The investigation has to be wrapping up. I'll tell you what the investigation is going to show. Ready, Tim? Nothing. It will show nothing because every NFL, NBA, NHL owner, MLA, you don't want to be the guy that says, yes, punish them, and then all of a sudden it's going to boomerang on you. Just like the Patriots. Like, okay, was there really an investigation there? Nope. Look the other way here. Was there really an investigation? The fans think the salary cap is for them. And in reality, it's just kind of a means for owners to hold cost in check. That's it. And then if the owner figures out a way, you can get around that just like many things. Like, you have workarounds in your office, there are workarounds in life. So this was last September where Pablo Torre goes out and he says, well, he says he was looking into this to Jalen Brunson. Why did you leave $113 million on the team? Now, if Pablo Torre was on the show right now, I'd ask him, did you find anything? Did you follow up on that? Because if the answer is no, then my theory is kind of, but my opinion is it would be unprecedented, remarkable, whatever you want to call it, that a professional athlete would actually leave $113 million on the table just to try to win. I think something else is going on here. Tim, I might be wrong.
If you can make it in endorsements, I guess it makes up for it. I mean, you could have that and more, but
no,
give me the rings, I guess.
Give you the rings. And again, like, there's no way you can make 113 in endorsements. And a lot of these athletes think they can kind of do it on their own here.
How much money is too much? Enough money, though. You know what I mean?
No. Tim, that's a common thing, and you and I can't relate to that because you know what? We're not millionaires. And then also, too, the Players Association should be saying something about that. Like, what the hell? You can't be doing that. Like, for example, we all want to wave our finger at A-Rod, right? A-Rod, okay, that guy, roll your eyes. He wanted to get out of Texas so bad. Anybody remember this? There was a trade that was sending him to the Red Sox. He would never become a Yankee. The trade was done. I'd have to look up what the Red Sox were sending back, but it was actually the Players Association that stepped in and said, nope, this isn't happening because you are agreeing to take a pay cut with Boston. End of story. It's like, wow. And then you thought about it like, yeah, like, of course. Like, you don't want to be setting a precedent, and that just maybe goes to A-Rod's stupidity. Like, okay, that's not really a good idea. Deferring money like Myles Garrett, one thing. You can do that. Couldn't do that in baseball at the time. Taking a pay cut when you are, at the time, the greatest player in the game? No, that's why A-Rod just lack of self-awareness with that guy. That would be fun. Like, do the alternate reality show at some point. What if Scott Norwood makes the kick? What if A-Rod became a Red Sox? Oh, well, Knicks tonight, and I expect them to be physical. I expect the crowd to be totally into this, although, let's take a look at the getting price here, Tim. I forgot to look this up before the show started.
About 32 at last.
Oh, my gosh, that crashed. That big-time crashed. So it was above 8, some places like 9 or 10, and, the Knicks aren't winning the championship here tonight. Guess what? $3,500, I still can't afford. Now, you're a Knicks fan? Flying to San Antonio, $1,300? See, that would be something. You could buy 2 tickets and have about $900 budget, I don't know, for a hotel, and then, okay, you would have to figure out the flight. So, like, to me, the smarter play, if you're a Knicks fan, would be to go to San Antonio, where it seems like that was kind of, sort of, a lot of Knicks fans there. Yankees are up 3-1 on Cleveland, where I would imagine there's more than one fan of the Yankees that, hey, you want to go take the day off and go down to Cleveland?
I'm
Yeah,
guessing that's
absolutely.
more than 50% Yankees fans today. Midday in Cleveland,
Tim, that is one.
$8 tickets, I think I saw.
As one, I don't understand why Cleveland, as blue collar as it is, gets run over by opposing fans. Maybe it's because you're a cheap owner. Maybe that's it. But it's a franchise that I think, other than having the low payroll, is generally well run. And when I went back there for a few years as a Met fan, I felt totally at home there.
Yeah.
Wearing Met gear, which that's great as an outsider. PJ Glasser is somewhere in Nebraska. Somewhere, maybe he's in Lincoln, maybe he's arrived in Omaha. I don't even know where he flew into, but he will be joining us next hour, or he'll get his thoughts tonight on game number 4. You can join us at 866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
AM WBEE HD2 Rochester and everywhere you go at WGR Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester. Sports Update.
It's Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. The Knicks and the Spurs. New York up 2-1. Jalen Brunson on Game 4.
Not turn the ball over. Continue to be who we are, and our attention to detail needs to be better. I just think we need to be ready to go. It's a very vague thing to say, but I think it's very simple as well. We just need to be ready.
Yankees are currently up on the Guardians 3-1. They're in the bottom of the third. Rays leading the Red Sox 1-0. They're in the fourth. Nationals and Giants also on getaway day coming up in just a little bit. Mets taking on the Cardinals tonight in St. Louis. Rochester Red Wings lost last night, the opener of their 13-game homestand to Worcester. Same two teams tonight at the stadium with a loss and a couple wins there. Rochester now a half game back in the IL North. Gene Battaglia, WGR Rochester.
Pull up a chair, stay for a while. You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Phil, Americans! Red Wings and Nighthawks! Sports bar! For Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2 as we high step it in. You found us. Thanks for making us part of your day. If 1 to 3 isn't convenient, just listen on demand on your way home, say, for instance. Just download the Odyssey app, make us part of your day. And if you missed any of our guests, now tomorrow you want to be right with us at 125. Chris DePasso, now with Buffalo Rumblings, will be joining us as I would think we are actually going to have a day 3 in Bill's minicamp. You should, right? There's been years where McDermott called off day 3, but it's kind of an entirely new system on defense. Let's just kind of start there. You could use the extra day. But I want to get Chris's thoughts on 3 camp battles that we identified, as I mentioned in hour number 1. One being, all right, kind of the obvious one, left guard, your starter's gone. Are we just handing that over to Alec Anderson? Do we have to make him earn it? Who else might be in the competition there? The one that is kind of interesting is I call it the silent competition, meaning the Bills aren't going to talk about this, but Maxwell Hairston going up against Davison Igbinosun. All right, that's interesting because those are 2 contrasting styles, and IGB is looking good, but everybody looks good here in the Western New York sunshine in the month of June. The other one being, didn't have this on my bingo card because you had 2 incumbents at linebacker, meaning Terrell Bernard, Dorian Williams. Dorian Williams, who led the Bills in tackles in 2024, but then really, he's good, but in terms of making the big splash play, or what would be the signature Dorian Williams game? You can't answer that, can you? Well, I enter Caleb Elamzor, but he's a rookie, right? We're all kind of reading the reports, and everything is very positive. The Bills have something there. Well, we'll ask the expert coming up tomorrow. Chris DePasso will be joining us. 585-866-4326. The Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman Line. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com. Great show here so far. And now from here, everything goes downhill.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
Before I dive into my take, I noticed something during your update, and I have to question you on it. Are those the Josh Allen readers? I noticed that something was missing on them. So are those the ones?
No, these are not.
Oh.
So they're very funny. Like, Tim is very observant. Everybody watching on YouTube. This happened to me today where I don't know what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, these things are built so cheap, Tim. They're not like glasses. I've had the same pair of Oakleys now for 5 years, and I don't endorse them or anything, but they last. Readers, by average, about 3 to 4 months because they're just so flimsy. And one of the arms came off today. I'm like, really? So, like, and thankfully, I don't have, like, I'm not meeting a client here or anybody like that, so I'm not embarrassing myself, other than just being on YouTube and I have to back up. The Josh Allen readers, why would you call them that? Somewhere out there, and I'm hoping it never surfaces because it would be the coldest of cold freezing takes of all time. We did our draft show, and we hung out after the draft, and this was the year of the quarterbacks. And if you go back to 2018, to me it seems pretty obvious now, and it seemed pretty obvious back then. But we're so voracious for information, I thought most people where we went would be looking at their phones to see who the Buffalo Bills selected when they were on the clock. And with Josh Rosen or Lamar Jackson or Mason Rudolph, which is funny because Mason Rudolph we were talking about, but all on the board of the Buffalo Bills selected Josh Allen. And because Josh Allen had a lot of negative press going into this, and because I myself was a dumbass, right? And I didn't really know, and I'm just kind of, I would think that I've kind of learned and improved from that point. I look at my phone, and that is caught on video where I take my readers and I smack them against the table. And then, I don't know, was it you or was it Thompson? I don't know who was taking that video.
I didn't film it, but I was present for it.
Funny, I remember who was there that night.
Yep.
It was me, you, Thompson, Steve Hausman with us, Masterstroke, and Spider. Spider was just, like he saw Spider, I know and you know from umpiring all those years. And, and Spider was having a good time that night. And the video it's kind of ruined because Spider is just blabbering the whole time, right? So
classic.
Classic. And the funny thing is, like, you know how you don't see people for years and years and years? I don't think I've seen, I hope he's still well. I haven't seen Spider since that night.
I saw him last week. He's good.
Okay, he's good. He's good. So, thankfully. Okay, good that Spider's still with us. Tim, that's the take of the day. Oh, no, you actually have a take.
Yeah, I have a take, but
right.
If you want a terrible take, that was yours from a decade ago. My take, I know that you're all in on the Knicks and you're focused on the NBA Finals, but let me try my hardest to drag you back into the Stanley Cup Final. I know that you're not a Vegas guy. I know you're not a Carolina guy, but you are a hockey guy, and we are a hockey community. And something that happened last night, I mean, we've watched some incredible hockey in this series. It's been a great series so far. All 4 games have been phenomenal, at least in my opinion. Yesterday, an undrafted rookie took the reins. The previous starting goaltender, a healthy scratch. This goalie, Brandon Bussey, toiled in the Boston system with Providence for a few years behind Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. Never really got a real chance to do it. Last night, actually the other night, he came in the third period and held his own, beyond held his own, got a fluky goal in a second overtime that ended up giving Vegas the win. But he played phenomenal in that game, got the keys to the car yesterday, did another great job, brought Carolina to even the series, and if you want a local tie to it, a local connect to it.
Almost crashed the car, though, but it's
he got the W, and Frederik Andersen wasn't even on the bench yesterday. He was a healthy scratch, which was very surprising to me.
That is, okay, so what is the story there? And go on, because I've got so many thoughts on this.
Well, that's there's a lot of layers to this one, but to bring it back into my focus here is
start watching hockey.
Sure, yes, please come back. But Devin Levi is here in Rochester, and the guy just needs to be given an opportunity. And I'm not saying he's going to go out in Game 4 of a Stanley Cup Final and bring the Sabres to glory, but if they don't retain him, there's a very, very strong chance that he becomes what Brandon Bussey became yesterday. And friend of the show, Zig Fracassi, has been banging this guy's drum for years on Twitter. He never got a chance in Boston, and I know that Fracassi is a Boston Bruins fan,
but
he's been a buyer of this guy just the same as I've been a buyer of Devin Levi. And I'm happy for Bussey. I'm I want to be happy for Levi, but I'm selfish and I want it to be in Buffalo.
So
Don't give up on a guy.
So many takes here. Take number one. Devin Levi is a better goaltender than Colton Ellis.
1,000%.
Colton Ellis.
Not a take. That's a fact.
That is a fact, and I think that Sabres community is kind of skewered because he's this cult hero that kind of plays fun. You look at Devin Levi as failed promise when, hey, the path to success when it comes to goaltender development is not linear. So Devin Levi has more talent, and he's the better goaltender. If you want to debate me on that, go right ahead at 585-866-4326. And if the Sabres were wise, I don't have a problem, Tim, with going with the three goaltenders. However, if Colton Ellis is going to be one of the guys next year, like, okay, then Devin Levi, you should trade him. I cannot believe we're only 20 days away from July 1st.
Yeah, that hurts my head. 2 weeks from the draft. Wild.
Also, I said the date.
Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Do not.
You asked me not to. I will respect that.
Every single damn July 1st.
I might do it that day, but I'm not going to talk about it now.
I mean, if you have my cell phone, like, I get the and there's so many gifs there of Bobby Bonilla just nodding his head. And
there's a take on that. It's a good move.
It's
embarrassing, but it's a good move.
It's embarrassing. Are we going to do this with Shohei Ohtani Day someday? No, we won't, Mike, because he's won damn World Series and one of the greatest of all time. Bobby Bonilla was not. 585-866-4326.
Brought it up yourself. You worked yourself into a shoot.
But back to okay, couple takes on to follow up there because. And this was a Dandelion take. The guy with the most heat on him entering this postseason, you could make a very big case for Rod Brindamore. Because this is year 8 in Carolina. Had never even gotten to a final. But now that you're here and you're a heavy favorite, I said it because look at the points during the regular season. Carolina is the better team. But it's hockey, and you just don't know. And there are playmakers like Marner and Stone and Michael and that's a ballsy move. Ballsy. Still went to overtime. Take 2. Carter Hart still sucks. Carter Hart is going to be the guy that's going to do in Vegas. I'm sorry. He becomes the first goaltender in Stanley Cup history to allow 4 goals in each of the first 4 games. And you know why he's still in there? Because Torts doesn't have another option. Like, that's it. This is there isn't a guy coming up. You don't think Vegas would love to try Devin Levi right now? It's like, and keep your hands off Devin Levi. I'm sorry, but I feel like we're alone on Levi.
I feel like we are alone on an island on Levi. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've bought in because I was a fan of his as soon as the trade was made with Florida years ago. That was the guy. He was a phenomenal player at Northeastern. We've watched him come up. He's carried the Amerks for most of the last few years. He's going to be fine. You have to be very, very patient with goaltending in the NHL. It takes forever. And
Devin Levi should not be a 1 with anybody in the NHL next year, but can he be the 2B?
And you can work yourself into that one.
Yeah, like that, right. Like there's nothing for him to do left here in Rochester. That's kind of it. To me, it's Buffalo or move him.
And the numbers aren't great.
I know Amherst fans are like, shush, be quiet. And I get it. Who's going to start in goal if it's not? I have no idea.
We'll figure it out.
It's just like somebody asked me who is going to call the games next year.
Many are wondering.
I don't know. I part of me wants to ask Don, would you come back?
You can't come back after all the spectacle that we had.
I don't think Don wants to come back. I think he's kind of just enjoying life now.
As he should.
I mean, as you kind of know, like just real salt of the earth guy. And I myself have learned a lot from Don as you have. And the cool thing about Don is, and like I said, there's only one cool thing. But I think one neat thing about Don is that you're going to see him around. I don't think he just all of a sudden goes to Florida and poof, disappears. I could be wrong on that, but I got a hunch you're going to see him making a presence at Emmerich games coming up this October. 585-866-4326. Now, I take that isn't a headline here in Rochester, but I think is kind of worth noting, all right, is that Buffalo Pro Soccer. So this was the story that, hey, I think this is interesting that there's a businessman group that wants to bring another sport, and it has nothing to do with the Pagulas, right? And this was the story from, circa 23, 24, around there. Hey, they're going to take this vacant spot of land downtown, and they're going to build this stadium. Oh, wait, we're not going to put it here. We're going to put it over here. Oh, wait, there's environmental issues over here because there was this old factory. Well, the story came out that Buffalo Pro Soccer now will not begin play in 2027, so it's another pushback. It's the second time they've officially had to push this back. Maybe, just maybe, you don't actually have the money. I'm sorry. Stop treating this like it's a real thing, okay? Because if you go back to some of those original stories about building the $40 million stadium in downtown Buffalo for soccer, and everybody's like, ooh, that would be a great thing for our community. Yeah, and then, some of this might be, you have to be kind of publicly, financed. Okay, I'm sorry. This is not the time to be asking for something like that, and if you can't do this on your own, I'm sorry. That would be like somebody going to the city of Rochester right now and saying, hey, we want to kind of reconfigure the stadium, give us some money here, or whatever it may be. If you don't have the money, don't do this. If you want to own a sports team, right, just ask yourself this question. Are you prepared to lose money? So many people get into this thinking they've had success in real estate or as a lawyer or whatever it is that made you great in that field. And they just think that they're going to apply the principles from that, and they know how to work with people, and it can't be that much different. And by the way, I just love this sport. I'm going to make it work. Time after time after time. This has failed. We were once the minor league sports king.
We were.
In Rochester. And you know why that went away? Because people got tired of losing money. They did. And I consider the Dworkins really good people. I would say, though, they're an example of this, that, hey, we want to do something good. Like, if you remember the history of the Rhinos, the guy, Rob Clark, only took it over because, well, the original owners were in default to the bank in Utica, which that was the only bank that would finance them, by the way. The bank in Utica floated that, okay, well, guess what? I guess we have a soccer team now. It sounds like kind of like a Ted Lasso kind of story, like, oh, well, I guess, hey, do you want to own a soccer team? Okay, son, go run the soccer team. And Rob Clark was not fit out for that, right? He was just, dad sent him here, right? Enter the Dworkins, who they had success, but again, it was just off. And after a few years, losing money kind of got tired for them. So all these, and you think Buffalo's different? I'm sorry. You really think a team in Buffalo would be profitable at that level? Here are sports that would make you money, right? NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. And hockey, you got to be careful. The NHL. I would throw in Major League Soccer. End of story. Anything minor league is going to lose money unless you've got kind of a template like the Rochester Red Wings where, okay, you have a majority shareholder and she and her family kind of run things here. Are they really the owners? Yeah, profit and loss all kind of work. I just find this because, to me, what's one thing missing from our landscape here in Rochester? It's having a pro soccer team. It's not that long ago where, like, I enjoyed going out and seeing the Western New York Flash or the Rhinos, and I don't have to be all into the soccer. It could be my fifth favorite sport, but it meant a lot to people here. And I understand, yes, the team that's in Lilac there, Flower City. But that's kind of like a club team. I wish them success.
Yeah, I think it's actually semi-pro. Yeah, it's
semi-pro.
They're amateurs for sure.
Yeah, but it's not anything like we had with the Rhinos, and certainly not at the level we had the Western New York Flash.
The greatest women's soccer players in the world in Rochester,
in Rochester, and we missed it. So, and even that's a company, Salins. They got tired of losing money too. So again, ask yourself this question: how much do you want to put into it?
looking at this Wikipedia
and that's why, like, anybody that wants to criticize somebody like Tom Golisano, no. Tom Golisano giving his wealth to people that need it. Minor league sports team, hey, that's just an entertainment. It's a losing proposition from making money. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. We will be talking somewhere in Nebraska. I think it's our first hit ever from the great state of Nebraska, which I've never been in Nebraska, but PJ Glasser is there for the College World Series. We'll talk to PJ about Game 4 tonight and other things that maybe he thinks are good plays here. You're welcome to join us, too, on the other side of that for last call at 585-866-4326. Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. The Knicks and the Spurs. New York up 2-1. Head coach Mike Brown.
Nobody is quote unquote panicking or anything like that. Everybody is disappointed that we didn't go out and execute and play to what we feel our standard is. And that's not taking anything away from San Antonio, but we feel like we can play a lot better than what we did. And we're looking forward to going out on the floor and showing it.
How do you play this game? Our betting expert, the great PJ Glasser, joins us next here in the Sports Bar. Rochester Red Wings right now not in first. They lost last night. Both Nashville and Memphis won. That means the Wings are a half game back in the International League. Same two teams tonight, Wings and Worcester at the stadium. On the Major League scoreboard, Cleveland has tied this up. They're in the top of the fifth. Yankees and Guardians tied at 3. Rays are up on the Red Sox 4-0 in the 6th. Gene Battaglia, WGR Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
You know, sporting events that I would think that at some point you would want to check out, whether that's a golf major, maybe it's a tennis major. How about the College World Series? Joining us here from parts unknown in Nebraska, our buddy PJ Glasser. PJ, whereabouts are you, bud?
Gene, right now I'm at Haymarket Park in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm at the baseball stadium for the University of Nebraska, checking it out. Gotta tell you, love the stadium, love the campus. It's really nice out here in Lincoln.
So how far is Lincoln from Omaha then? How much time you gotta get there for the game tonight?
It's about an hour drive. So I got in. Oh yeah, so I got in this morning and then got a rental car. The games don't start until Friday, so I had a couple days to kill. Yeah, and I had a free day today. So, you know, I figured probably not too many more times I'm going to get to Nebraska. I might as well check some things out. So I'm here in Lincoln.
Shows you what I know here about the world. So, like, how did this idea come about that this was the year you're going to go check out the College World Series?
Well, I'm going with Game Day Garage, and we got a couple of us coming out here to make content and try and build up the brand that we're working. So there'll be plenty of videos on YouTube and Twitch that people can check out at Game Day Garage, Twitter as well. Oh. And we got a college baseball guy, Jake Hassan. He's a huge college baseball guy. And they asked me if I wanted to tag along. And then, you know, with just good timing, Alabama makes the College World Series too. So works out that I get to see my school and get to go. So I'll be out here with them.
It's funny, like, and for years and years and years, because I always mark kind of time with sports. Meaning, hey, when the Knicks, and this is before probably you were born, PJ, when they lost, and I was just, you know, right out of college at the time, when they lost to the Rockets in Game 7, I was watching that in a small cottage in Cape Cod. And I remember just being angry, going out and looking at the ocean after that. You will mark time knowing, all right, where did I watch Game 4, Knicks and Spurs? I watched it in Nebraska. Do the Knicks bounce back here? PJ, your thoughts on the series so far and your thoughts about tonight?
Gene, I feel like we talk about this a bunch, but isn't it always amazing how the perception changes after one game? Everybody thinks the Knicks are just going to sweep, and then here's San Antonio winning Game 3, and now all the pressure is back on New York to take care of business. You know, as somebody who lives in the D.C. area, I watched the Caps the year that they won the Cup go up against Tampa 2-0, and they won both games on the road, and they lost the next 3. The Nationals did the same thing in the World Series a few years ago against the Astros. They won the first 2 on the road, lost the next 3. Like, I'm kind of getting the vibe from that in this series, Gene, with the Knicks. Like, I kind of think the Spurs win tonight. I think they win Game 5 as well. But all 3 games have been super entertaining. The Spurs have led by double digits in all 3. They've only been able to win 1. I don't know. I just like the Knicks. I don't like them at home. I kind of almost feel like there's too much pressure on them with how much nervous energy can be in that building when they're losing, and just feels like they play a little bit more loose, a little bit more free when they're on the road. So I think San Antonio got some momentum after that game. They found out how to close the game down the stretch. And finally, after the Knicks were just shooting the absolute air out of the ball for a month, we're starting to see some regression a little bit. and I think that could continue tonight. So I'm going to roll with the Spurs again in Game 4.
Yeah, and you called the Spurs to win the series from the get-go on this. What about San Antonio? If you go back to the Minnesota series, where all right, they there was a night they no-showed, and then the storyline after the game was Pop told them to be more physical. It seemed like okay, that was PJ. I didn't have any problem. I'm a Knicks fan. I had no problem with the physicality coming from San Antonio. Do we expect the Knicks to push back? What kind of game from that standpoint do we expect here tonight?
I think they kind of have to, especially on their home floor when they're going to have the crowd behind them, and you would think that would influence the whistle a little bit more on their side. But, I mean, there's no question the Spurs, they're trying to take it to the Knicks. Wemby's having a couple cheap shots, a couple other guys as well. I haven't, like Eugene, haven't had too much of a problem with it as much as seems like other people have, and certainly Knicks fans. This is what we want. It's playoff basketball. You know, we complain so much in the regular season that they don't let them play, and then they do in the playoffs, and then everybody wants a whistle. So you can't make people happy. I don't like any of the Bush League stuff, you know, if you're going to, like, elbow a guy in the face or stuff like that. But I would definitely expect things to be a little bit chippy tonight with both teams knowing just how important this game is. So, yeah, I think it continues, and I would expect for us, really the first time in this series, to see the Knicks give it back to the Spurs a little bit.
From Lincoln, Nebraska, on the campus there outside the baseball stadium, joining us. No, the College World Series isn't going to be there. PJ just had some time. Go check it out. PJ Glasser joining us here in the Sports Bar today. All around the country. We're going to have soccer all around the continent, I should say, right? Technically. And when I brought this up a few weeks ago, PJ, you were like, hey, you know what? That's on the horizon. We got a lot of other stuff. Now that we are here and we want to spice things up here just a little bit. Do you have any thoughts here? As I can't believe we're already here. Friday, the World Cup beginning. PJ Glasser, it's time to talk some soccer here in the Sports Bar.
So my two big takes, Gene, I would say, are that first, I'm fading Argentina. Historically, teams that try to go back-to-back and use that same nucleus of players, it usually doesn't work. Germany, when they were trying to go back-to-back, they got grouped. They lost in the group stage. France did the same thing when they were trying to go back-to-back as well. And people forget with Argentina, I mean, they did win the World Cup 4 years ago, but they lost their very first game against Saudi Arabia. So with all these guys being older and them trying to run it back with the experience and the success that they had last year, they're priced a little bit higher than I think they should. You're obviously getting the Messi tax, so I'd look to fade them. And then Brazil is a team that I liked. I've actually bet them at plus 950 to win the World Cup. Most casual sports fans, they think of Brazil and they think of Neymar. And he's getting up there in age. He's hurt. He probably isn't going to play a lot in this tournament. And people just think because, the guy that I know, the superstar in Brazil, is hurt, I have no interest in betting them. But, it's still Brazil. I mean, they are loaded. They have a world-class team, and I think you're getting pretty good value on them. So, Gene, I wouldn't look if people are looking to bet World Cup futures or teams to win it, I really wouldn't look at any team past Brazil. I think your winner is going to be Spain, it's going to be France, it's going to be England, it's going to be Brazil. It's going to be one of those teams. Towards the top, Portugal could win it. And I think Brazil at the price, I think there's good value there. So they would be the team that I would look at.
As PJ Glasser joining us from Nebraska, next week will be a lot of fun to talk to because we get the U.S. Open from Shinnecock Hills in Long Island. So the warm up to this, the Canadian Open, and this always kind of moves around. TPC Toronto is the course this week, and always kind of a different vibe. The week before a major that those that enter want to certainly be playing their best golf. Any suggestions you have for us here? The PGA tournament this week north of the border, PJ.
Yeah, this is the kind of tournament, Gene, that you really want guys that are good with their short irons, their wedges, and that are good putters, good short game. Usually these events on tour, length is such a big factor. That's really not the case this week. Obviously, if you drive it long, you give yourself shorter opportunities into the hole, but it's really about who can control those wedges, who's closest in proximity to the hole. A guy who's playing really well right now is on a roll is Alex Fitzpatrick, Matt's brother. They won out in New Orleans together, and then ever since they've done that, Alex by himself has been playing really good golf. So I'm on him this week. I think he's got a great chance. Sam Burns has been super hot, and I like him at the U.S. Open next week too. But I'd look to bet him this week as well. And Fleetwood would be another guy who's played well here in the past as well. Those would be the three that I would look at this week.
Now, PJ, we haven't had legalized sports wagering here in New York State for years and years and years, right? So, but in the time that we've been talking together, I haven't seen anything like this in baseball. There's some action going on right now. Your thoughts on the action here tonight, if you have any play. But the one game I want to ask you about in particular, because Monday night was like, what? 15-14 Brewers and A's. So the series continuing tonight in Vegas, the warm-up back, the outdoor AAA stadium. PJ, the over-under for this game is 14.5 tonight? It's like, have you ever seen anything like that?
I haven't, and you can't set that total high enough. They're playing in a triple league ballpark or a AAA ballpark. It just absolutely flies off the bat. It was only a 7-5 total last night, so the pitching settled in a little bit. But I wouldn't go under, Gene. I wouldn't go under on that 14.5. It would be over or pass for me. So that's been really fun baseball games. I mean, that first game that you talked about, the 14-13 game or whatever it was just absolutely insane. So we could get kind of something in the middle of what we got in, the first two nights. Maybe tonight's like a 10-8 kind of game, so I would look over there. And then nothing else for me in Major League Baseball. To be honest, Gene, I really haven't had a chance to look at the card too much since I was flying this morning. Passing on the MLB card, but yeah, that over, just watching those first two games would only be over for me in that A's game.
Yeah, I mean, the one, and I wouldn't bet this at all, but I'm just curious to see what Max Scherzer against the Phillies can offer here tonight, because it hasn't been good so far, but again, he's just coming off the IL, so I'm just seeing what Scherzer can do here tonight. PJ, I met your brother Monday night face to face. He saw me. He was out, and we had a lot of fun there watching the Knicks there. Nathan, now an intern for the Rochester Red Wings, and I wish if there was ever time you could come into town. We've got so the Wings are hosting Worcester. That is the AAA team for the Red Sox. And the Red Sox sent down one of their main starters here, a guy that was very integral to that starting rotation last year. I forget his name, though. He's going to be on the mound tomorrow. Who is that major league pitcher that was sent from the Red Sox down to AAA?
Oh, Gene, I don't know. You might have stumped me on this one. I'm going to have to hear it from your lips. What do we got?
Brian Bayo.
Brian Bayo, Gene. That's pretty.
He's in Rochester. So does intern Nathan go up to Brian Bayo and be like, "You're Brian Bayo"? No.
Brian Bayo. That's fantastic. He had a great time at the Bills. What was that charity softball game that they had over there the other day? He said that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. That was. He was telling me a little bit about that, and that was the one year we had it here in Rochester. Greg Rousseau and a lot of Dalton Kincaid actually ended up winning it. So good on that. So PJ, I told your brother, like, there's going to be there's going to be one surprise Wednesday. I don't know when that's going to be, where all of a sudden Nathan's going to be hanging out here in the sports bar. What do you think?
Oh gosh, Gene, I dread that day. No, that's going to be fun. When that happens, that'll be a great time. I love the photo that you sent when you two are hanging out. That was great. So whenever he pops on, maybe we can get the trifecta with Philip Glasser too. Maybe he can join. We just have all the Glassers on with Gene. That'd be fantastic.
So College World Series, Game Day Garage. Set us up here for the weekend, PJ. Where we can get more of your content here.
Yeah, so, follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Game Day Garage. We'll be posting a bunch of stuff there. We'll also be putting together some videos and clips that we do on YouTube that you can find us at Game Day Garage as well. So those are pretty much the main avenues to find us. You can also find them on my social channels at PJGlass9 on Instagram and at PJGlasser9 on Twitter. And yeah, Gene, we'll be doing stuff for all weekend. We'll be here through the weekend, so it should be a lot of fun. For people that want to bet on the College World Series, my advice, I think the winner of Texas-Georgia, they play in the first game. I think the winner of that game is going to win the College World Series. I tend to think it's going to be Texas, but I think those are the two best teams, and I think your winner is coming out of that first game.
All right. We roll the tape on that. When it happens, we'll play it back.
Yep.
PJ, have a fun time in Nebraska. We'll be checking it out this weekend. Let's do this again next week, bud.
All right, Gene. Always good talking to you, pal. See you next week.
Thanks, PJ Glasser, who his brother is an undergrad at Ithaca and landed an internship with the Rochester Red Wings. So that was that reference. And then it's funny when you're friends with and this, this is the world we live in, right? You're friends with somebody on social media and you know what they look like on social media before you even have a chance to meet him face to face. So it was one of those. I knew he had moved to this particular neighborhood, Nathan, because he was just asking for advice and everything, and then kind of doing that where you're texting, like we became friends on social media, and then he was out. I'm like, hey, kind of thing. That it's you.
I know you.
I know you.
That happened to me in Cleveland once. I've been in a fantasy baseball league for 22 years, and I'm at a Guardians game, Indians at the time, but whatever. We're in Cleveland, and some guy behind me taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Are you Tim?" I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like, "My name's Mark. We're in the same baseball league." He's like,
"No,
what is happening?
What is happening?"
It was wild. Like one of the weirdest moments of my life. And I've met like 7 of these people from that league. It started when I was in high school.
That's right. So, look, if you want to be friends with us on social media, by all means, you know how to hit us up. And then, sometimes we respond after hours too. Before we get to last call, I feel like we have to go back to the last segment where I'm just we got to call things out. This idea that, hey, Buffalo, we're a soccer town now. No, you're not. I'm sorry. The road to wherever is paved with good intentions, right? These people that are putting together this Buffalo team don't have money. They just don't. Sure, they know some people, but they are just trying to do this, and it's just a wing and a prayer, and it'll never, ever get off the ground with this current outfit. Tim, you pointed out something that, have you ever seen a Wikipedia page that has more lies in it?
It's better than Brady lies, I'll tell you that. It's just lies after lies after lies.
Share some of them.
We've got the head coach has been found. They did not name him. They just called him a remarkably famous former Premier League player. Very, very vague. They are searching for an owner. So, like, they've got the landscape in place, the groundwork in place, but they don't have somebody to own the team. He has to have a minimum value of $30 million and a 35% stake in the team, which means he has to invest, 30% of his money because it's a $20 million project. There's a stadium that was supposed to be expanded from 7,000 seats to 15,000 seats with $10 million of private money. So that means somebody else is spending money to double the stadium in size. None of it has come to fruition. It's all just an idea. It's a plot of literally it's Ted Lasso in Buffalo, and it's never going to come to fruition.
No, it's not. It won't. Maybe something like I'd like to see it there, and I certainly want this in my community. But the cautionary tale is, again, you're doing this for the greater good. That's why when the Nighthawks were taken over by Seneca Nation, I'm like, this fits. You know what? Like, there's things we can learn, and they have their own nation, and there's a reason other than the bottom line, and the bottom line is certainly important. I don't think the Seneca Nation wants to lose tons and tons of money. However, it's one of those where, yeah, they can absorb that, and they're doing this for other reasons. And in minor league sports, that's the name of the game. And it just sounds, to me, it sounds like some people with maybe a little bit of money, but not owner-type money, had an idea, and it's not going very far. 585-866-4326. Thanks to PJ for calling in. And we've got last call coming up for you. Now, our phone number, as you know, 585-866-4326. Last call coming up next year on WGR Rochester.
Sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
Yeah, we joked about this with PJ that Brian Bayo will actually be, I don't know if he's starting the first or second game. So tomorrow, it's an afternoon game, but they're going to turn that into a doubleheader. There was a game out in Massachusetts that it was at the end of the series that, okay, we can't make this up. So it'll be one of those weird, actually the Woo Sox are the home team tomorrow. So that means 3 games in less than 24 hours here, or a little more than 24 hours for the Red Wings, where if they have a half-game deficit where they're trailing right now, these two teams, Nashville and Memphis, that extra game, you can make that up tomorrow. Can they at least hold serve heading into next week? Welcome back in. Gene Battaglia with you. We talked, by the way, to Matthew LeCroy on Monday, so that was a lot of fun. 585-866-4326. Yeah, the A's-Brewers game tonight, 14 and a half. I haven't looked too much into it, the dimensions there of that ballpark, but it can't just be all heat and nothing else. It seems like that's it? 14 and a half.
The first game of the series was 8. It's like Vegas didn't know the game was in Vegas.
Right. Isn't that nuts? Like they just legitimately thought, all right, this is kind of the baseline where we're putting this, whether that's in Sacramento or here. Fun show we had today. Tomorrow on the show, we will be talking about tonight's Game 4. We'll also be talking about Bill's minicamp because Bill's mandatory minicamp around this time tomorrow will be officially wrapping up. Interesting. We'll be talking to Chris Trapasso. Now, I had a little birdie, Tim, tell me, and this I'm like, that expect less practices this summer at St. John Fisher.
Public or in general?
In general.
Interesting.
Which it could just be as simple as because of the CBA, because you can't actually start the first time until July 29th, and then you're working your way ahead to the blue and the red scrimmage. And do you want to come back after the blue and red scrimmage? Sometimes they always do, but maybe one of the years they don't. My anticipation is by the end of this week is that we'll have kind of in our hands the schedule here for training camp at St. John Fisher, which I don't want to wish time away. As you know, that's one of my sayings, but that's something that we all can look forward to. So we'll talk about these competitions for the Buffalo Bills and some of the outcomes and what we can look forward to training camp. Chris Trapasso, now with Buffalo Rumblings, will be joining us tomorrow on the show. 585-866-4326, although we're kind of sort of out of time here on the show today. PJ just picked the Spurs tonight. I'm like, PJ, why do you got to do that to me, bud? I think the Knicks push back tonight. That was kind of the storyline to me, was a slow start in both the first and the second half. First quarter was kind of the Knicks got to come out and they got to move the ball around and just tighten things up just a wee bit here. And to me, I think they get it done tonight. And originally I said Knicks in 6. I still think that's going to be Knicks in 6. Now, Game 6 ticket prices for New York now at $9,000. Game tonight,
9 times.
$3,400. According to Yahoo, before the Knicks lost by game time, they were north of $13,000. Again, this is way out of my park. It's out of your ballpark too. And if it's not out of your ballpark, well, can we be friends?
Get out there and go.
Yeah, get out and go. Thanks to Dan DeLorean, who I always invite Dan to work alongside us. He doesn't want to do it. He wants to go into the conference room or just into his little cubby. Well, thank you to Dan. He'll get everything up online for you here shortly. And thank you to Tim for dealing with us. Again, let me give you a quick scoreboard here. Yankees now have scored 3. They're in the 6th. They lead the Guardians 6-3. It's Tampa Bay leading Boston 5-0. Knicks and Spurs tonight, Game 4. We'll talk about it tomorrow here on the Sports Bar from 1 to 3 weekdays. For everyone here on the show, my name is Gene Battaglia. Show up in the Bulldog coming your way next here on WGR Rochester.